Welcome to the deep dive. So, when you look at a map, Antarctica is, well, it's just that huge white blank space at the bottom of the world.
Right. A place for scientists and penguins.
Exactly. But the stack of material we're digging into today paints a completely different picture. It suggests that this continent is maybe the #1 hub for hidden tech, ancient secrets, and, some really intense geopolitics.
That's putting it mildly.
We're exploring a version of reality that frankly sounds like science fiction, but our sources are insisting this is real documented history.
It is. And our goal for this deep dive is really to synthesize this incredibly layered story. We're going to be tracking claims that start in the mid-20th century with, Nazi Germany and advanced tech,
And then go all the way back.
all the way back to a supposed ancient civilization that predates all of our known history. So we have to ask, what is actually hidden under all that ice? And maybe more importantly, why have world powers from the Third Reich to the U.S. today fought so hard to get access?
And we have some just, frankly, mind-boggling claims to get through today. We're talking about secret Nazi bases from the 30s, Admiral Byrd's diary describing a tropical world under the ice, and even physical proof of giant energy-emitting pyramids. It's a huge, very cold rabbit hole. Okay, so let's start where modern interest really begins. World War II.
Right. So if you look at the timeline of the war, one thing it stands out as being completely bizarre.
New Schwabenland.
The Nazi base, New Schwabenland in Antarctica.
Hmm.
And the question our sources pose is critical. You're in the middle of World War II. Your resources, your people, your logistics, everything is stretched to the absolute breaking point.
Absolutely.
So why? Why would Hitler prioritize building a permanent hidden base in literally the most hostile environment on Earth?
And the sources say it was about way more than just planting a flag. They claim the Nazis were on a hunt for ancient knowledge.
For technology, yeah.
Yeah.
Hitler had this whole strategy of sending teams all over the world, the famous trips to Tibet, for example. They were looking for forgotten tech. And they weren't just looking for old books. They were looking for power. They were specifically searching for information on the ancient Indian flying machines, the Vimanas.
And that search, according to the material, is what led them to Antarctica.
To the people who were supposedly already there.
So you've got this drive for ancient tech, but then there's also the raw materials, the resource motivation.
Oh, absolutely. Decades later, Admiral Byrd himself allegedly said there were just mountains of coal down there. He even said, and the source quotes this, no ice caps in his description, implying there's enough fuel there to power the world for a very, very long time.
And it's not just coal.
No, not at all. The sources point to heavy materials, uranium and plutonium.
The building blocks for nuclear weapons and power.
Exactly. Elements whose atoms can be split easily. So you have this ideological quest crashing right into this incredible material wealth.
Which brings us to this really strange moment in history, Project Paperclip. After Germany fell, the U.S. government brought over more than 2,000 German scientists. Many of them, were deeply involved with the Nazi Party.
And that's the fascinating part. It was a trade-off. The U.S. basically decided technological superiority was more important than ideological purity.
And these weren't just low-level engineers.
No, they were allegedly put into positions of real power. We're talking the CIA, NASA, the beginning of the space program, major tech companies.
It's just wild to think about. You get this instant upgrade in rocketry, maybe even anti-gravity research, but at what cost? This is where that massive claim comes from, that America, by absorbing this whole scientific infrastructure,
became a kind of Fourth Reich.
In a strange, indirect way, inheriting that same obsession with these advanced weapons and secrets. It's a really unsettling idea.
It is, and it connects that original Nazi search in Antarctica directly to U.S. military thinking, which is a perfect setup for our next key figure, Admiral Richard Byrd.
And we have to be clear, Byrd wasn't some minor officer. He was, literally one of the most decorated, top-ranking admirals in the entire U.S. military at that time. When a guy like that talks, people listen.
Which is what makes the contents of his supposedly discovered diary so explosive.
So what does it say?
The account claims Byrd was flying an expedition over Antarctica, and he flew into an area that it seemed to open up.
Open up how?
Into a warm, lush, tropical zone. He's describing green mountains, rivers, all of this beneath the main ice shelf.
That's unbelievable. And then it gets even stranger.
Oh, yeah. According to the diary, as soon as he flew into this zone, something took over his plane. It wasn't a malfunction.
He wasn't in control anymore.
He was being guided. Two circular craft, classic flying saucers, appear out of nowhere and escort him down to a landing strip. He's then taken to meet a being he only refers to as the Master.
And what did the Master have to say?
It was a warning, basically. This being expressed a deep wariness about what humanity was doing. Specifically, our use of nuclear bombs in Japan and our experiments with these powerful destructive forces.
And the message was?
The message was that we are sharing this planet. That
Yeah.
was the phrase. The implication was clear. Humanity had to control its destructive side or face a response from a group that was far, far more advanced.
A direct warning to one of the most powerful military men on Earth right after Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Exactly. And the military, they didn't just file it away. The sources claim Byrd went back later with a massive military force, Operation High Jump.
This wasn't a science trip.
Not at all. We're talking about a naval fleet, over 3,000 people. It was a small army sent to, well, to explore and maybe engage whatever was down there.
But the engagement, it didn't go as planned.
It was a catastrophe. Byrd's forces were, according to the sources, completely defeated. They ran into those same flying objects, the circular craft, which attacked and apparently destroyed some of their ships and planes.
So this massive, heavily armed U.S. fleet was forced to retreat.
They had to turn tail and run. Just think about that. The U.S. Navy, right after winning World War II, gets routed by an unknown enemy using technology they couldn't even begin to understand.
And the official story.
A cover-up, of course. But Byrd's supposed statement when he got back is quoted everywhere. He said, "We have a new enemy that can fly from pole to pole with extreme speed." That changes everything for the U.S. military.
And that leads us right into the technology itself, the exotic stuff the Nazis were either developing with this knowledge or that these other beings were using. Let's start with the Haunebu.
The Haunebu, it's described as a large circular craft, a disc. There were supposedly 4 different versions developed.
And how did it fly?
It used regular jets just for vertical takeoff to get off the ground. But the real secret, for its horizontal flight and incredible speed, was this huge spinning device in the very center of the craft.
And this connects back to the ancient tech they were looking for.
Directly. The propulsion was supposedly based on those Indian Vimanas. It used something called a ferrofluid vortex engine. So you take a liquid metal, like mercury, spin it at insane speeds, and then you electrify it.
And that creates?
Anti-gravity, a localized field that lets it move.
The maneuverability must have been incredible. And of course, there's that persistent rumor attached to it.
That Hitler didn't die in the bunker.
But escaped. In Haunebu number 4, flying to Argentina.
Which is, not coincidentally, the closest landmass to Antarctica.
Okay, now let's shift to the really weird Nazi project.
Yeah.
Die Glocke, the bell.
Yes, the Bell. Described as this big acorn-shaped object, another kind of flying machine, also developed very late in the war.
But the origin story for this one is even more out there.
It is. It bypasses engineering as we know it. The sources claim the design for this, this unbelievably advanced machine, was channeled.
Channeled from where?
From an advanced alien race. It came through psychics who were connected to the Thule Society, that early Nazi ideological group. They were literally trying to turn channeled alien blueprints into working hardware.
So they're taking messages from aliens and building war machines. I mean, and what was the ultimate point of the bell? It wasn't just about flying, was it?
No, flight was just a side effect almost. The primary goal, what they were really after, was believed to be time travel.
Could go back and change the outcome of the war.
To go back and create a past that would lead to a Nazi-dominated future. The ambition is just, it's staggering.
Did it work?
Well, the sources talk about eyewitnesses who saw it just disappear from its testing site in Germany, so maybe it activated.
Yeah.
But the sources also give a bit of a reality check from physics.
Oh, okay.
We know from relativity that traveling to the future is possible. High speeds cause tiny time shifts for astronauts, for example. Stay on your same timeline.
But going to the past is different.
Completely different. The theory is that traveling to the past creates a break. It shunts you into a different alternate timeline. You can't change your own past. That's the grandfather paradox.
So even if they succeeded,
They wouldn't have changed their own history. They would just created a new reality branch where maybe they won, but it wouldn't have saved them from their defeat in 1945.
still the fact they were even trying, interdimensional beings, anti-gravity, time travel, it shows how central Antarctica is to all these mysteries.
Absolutely. Which brings us to our final piece, the ancient civilizations and this idea of a global energy grid. First, we have to question the mainstream idea that Antarctica has been frozen solid for 12 million years.
Right, because we have things like the Piri Reis map.
Exactly. A map from 1513 that seems to show the coast of Antarctica perfectly, but without any ice. Someone mapped it when it was ice-free.
So how is that possible? The theory in the sources isn't slow climate change. It's something much more violent.
A pole shift. A rapid, cataclysmic shift of the Earth's entire crust. The idea is that this event moved Antarctica from a temperate zone to the South Pole almost overnight.
And the evidence for that speed is the flash-frozen animals.
Yeah, the mammoths found in Siberia with undigested fresh buttercups still in their stomachs. That doesn't happen in a slow ice age. That happens when the temperature drops hundreds of degrees in an instant.
And in its warmer past, this continent supposedly had a whole advanced civilization.
With structures that are just beyond comprehension. The sources talk about the largest pyramids on Earth being under that ice.
And when you say large,
I mean, one example is cited as having a base that is 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers, a square base.
okay, wait, let's put that in perspective for you. The Great Pyramid at Giza, its base is what, 230 meters?
Correct. So this thing is almost 10 times the size. It's an engineering feat that's totally beyond anything we attribute to the ancient world.
And it's not just their size, it's that they're supposedly still active.
That's the key. A former military source told the researcher Linda Moulton Howe that one of these pyramids is still emitting what he called exotic energy.
So powerful it was draining their camera batteries when they got close.
Right, which sounds a lot like the energy anomalies reported near pyramids in the Bermuda Triangle.
And this is where the global grid idea comes in.
It is. If you draw a straight line through the center of the Earth, starting in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle, that line pops out right at the Yonaguni Monument, the underwater pyramid in Japan's Dragon's Triangle.
So these things aren't just tombs, they're placed strategically.
The suggestion is they're linked,
Yeah.
that they're energetic portals or maybe power plants for some kind of global energy system.
But what about access today? The Antarctic Treaty is supposed to keep it peaceful.
It is. But the sources point to something very specific. On Google Earth, you can see it. A 30-meter wide circular opening, a hole, right near the research stations.
An entrance.
The theory is that it's an entrance, actively used and linked to that same civilization that birds supposedly met.
And the final piece of this puzzle comes from remote viewing. From the old CIA Stargate project.
Yes, from Major Ed Dane's courses. The claim from that intelligence world is that beings have free and easy access to Antarctica.
Why?
Because, in his words, nobody can stop them.
So if we pull all these threads together, we start with Nazi scientists looking for ancient flying machines.
We move to a direct warning from a master being, then a defeated U.S. Navy fleet.
And we get giant energy-emitting pyramids linked across the globe, and finally a confirmation from intelligence sources that unstoppable entities are coming and going as they please.
It really starts to make sense why every major country and even private groups like the Rockefeller Foundation maintains these incredibly sophisticated permanent bases down there.
It's not about science, it's about a prize.
It's the ultimate geopolitical prize. According to all this material, Antarctica is the true center of our planet's hidden history and its future technology.
So we have to leave you with a final thought on all this. We know for a fact the ice is melting. It's happening right now.
So if there really is an advanced civilization buried under there, if its structures are still humming with some kind of exotic energy, what happened when that ice finally disappears? What secrets, what technology, or what kind of confrontation might be revealed to the entire world? Just think about what's waiting for us right under the surface.